Hey everyone, welcome to AI in Everyday Life, the podcast where we dive into the fascinating world of artificial intelligence and uncover the secrets behind the gadgets we use every day.
Today, we're tackling a question that's been on everyone's mind. Is your phone listening to you? Spoiler alert, it's not as simple as a yes or no answer.
That's right, we're also going to explore the AI behind virtual assistants like Siri, Alexa, and Google Assistant. How do they work? What do they know about us? And should we be concerned?
So grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's get into it. Okay, let's start with the big question. Is my phone actually listening to me? I mean, we've all had that creepy moment where we're talking about something random like, I don't know, penguins, and suddenly we're getting ads for penguin-themed sweaters.
Right? It's happened to me too. And honestly, it feels like our phones are eavesdropping on us 24/7. But here's the thing. While it feels like your phone is listening, the reality is a bit more complicated.
So what's really going on?
Well, your phone is listening, but not in the way you might think. Virtual assistants like Siri and Google Assistant are always waiting for their wake words, like Hey Siri or OK Google. When they hear those words, they start recording and sending that data to the cloud for processing.
Okay, so they're not just recording everything I say all the time?
Exactly. That would be a massive privacy violation and a huge drain on your phone's battery and data. Instead, they're designed to only activate after hearing the wake word. But here's where it gets interesting. Sometimes they might think they hear the wake word when they don't.
Oh, like when you're watching a YouTube video and someone says something that sounds like, Hey Siri, and suddenly your phone lights up.
Exactly. That's called a false trigger. And while it's not your phone spying on you, it can definitely feel that way.
But what about those targeted ads? If my phone isn't listening all the time, how do they know I was just talking about penguins?
Great question. The truth is, your phone doesn't need to listen to you to figure out what you're interested in. It's already collecting tons of data about you, your search history, your location, the apps you use, even the people you interact with online.
So it's more like my phone is predicting what I want based on all that data.
Bingo. AI algorithms are really good at connecting the dots. Let's say you were texting a friend about planning a trip to Antarctica. Your phone might not have heard that conversation, but it knows you've been Googling flights, looking at cold weather gear, and maybe even watching videos about penguins.
So it's less about eavesdropping and more about data profiling.
Exactly. And honestly, that's both impressive and a little unsettling.
Speaking of unsettling, let's talk about the AI behind virtual assistants. How do they even work?
Okay, so at the core of every virtual assistant is a combination of natural language processing and machine learning. NLP is what allows the assistant to understand human language, whether you're asking for the weather or telling a joke.
And machine learning is how they get better over time, right?
Exactly. The more people use these assistants, the more data they collect, and the smarter they become. For example, if thousands of people ask, "What's the weather like today?" the AI learns to recognize that pattern and respond more accurately.
That's pretty cool. But it also means these companies are collecting a lot of data about us.
Yeah, and that's where the privacy concerns come in. While companies like Apple, Google, and Amazon say they take user privacy seriously, there's always the risk of data breaches or misuse.
So, what can we do to protect ourselves?
First, you can review your privacy settings. Most virtual assistants let you control what data is collected and how it's used. For example, you can turn off personalized ads or delete your voice history.
And what about turning off the assistant altogether?
You can definitely do that. If you're not using Siri or Google Assistant, you can disable them in your phone's settings. But honestly, for a lot of people, the convenience outweighs the privacy concerns.
That's true. I mean, I love being able to ask my phone to set a timer while I'm cooking or play my favorite playlist without lifting a finger.
Same here. It's all about finding the right balance between convenience and privacy.
All right, let's do a quick recap. Your phone isn't technically listening to you all the time, but it is collecting a ton of data that AI uses to predict what you want.
And while virtual assistants are incredibly powerful, they do come with privacy trade offs. The key is to stay informed and make choices that work for you.
So, we've covered the basics, but let's dive a bit deeper. What about the ethical implications of all this data collection? I mean, it's one thing to know how it works, but should we be worried about how this data is being used?
That's a great point. The ethical implications are huge. On one hand, this data helps improve the technology, making virtual assistants more accurate and helpful. But on the other hand, there's the potential for misuse.
Like what?
Well, for starters, there's the risk of data breaches. If a hacker gets access to your voice data, they could potentially use it for identity theft or other malicious purposes.
That's scary. And what about the companies themselves? Are they using this data in ways we might not be comfortable with?
It's possible. While most companies have strict privacy policies, there's always the chance that data could be shared with third parties or used for purposes we didn't explicitly agree to.
So, what can we do to protect ourselves?
First, it's important to read the privacy policies of the apps and services you use. I know it's not the most exciting reading material, but it's crucial to understand what you're agreeing to.
And what about using alternative services that prioritize privacy?
Absolutely. There are privacy focused alternatives to many popular apps and services. For example, instead of using Google Assistant, you might consider using a more privacy conscious virtual assistant like Mycroft.
That's a good tip. And what about using a VPN?
A VPN can help protect your data by encrypting your internet connection, making it harder for third parties to track your online activity.
Got it. So, it's all about being proactive and taking steps to protect our privacy.
Exactly. And staying informed is key. The more we know about how these technologies work, the better equipped we are to make smart choices.
Well, I feel like we've covered a lot of ground today. From how virtual assistants work to the ethical implications of data collection, it's clear that this is a complex issue.
Absolutely. And it's one that's only going to become more important as these technologies continue to evolve.
So, what's next for virtual assistants? Where do you see this technology heading in the future?
That's a great question. I think we're going to see even more integration of virtual assistants into our daily lives. For example, they might become more proactive, anticipating our needs before we even ask.
Like, if I'm running late for a meeting, my assistant might automatically send a message to let the other participants know.
Exactly. And we might see more personalized interactions, where the assistant learns our preferences and adapts to our unique needs.
That sounds both exciting and a little bit scary.
It is. But as long as we stay informed and make conscious choices about how we use these technologies, I think the benefits will outweigh the risks.
Well, I don't know about you, but I feel like I understand my phone a little better now. I'm definitely going to be paying more attention to my privacy settings from now on.
Same here. And I hope our listeners will too.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review.
And if you have any tech questions or topics you'd like us to cover, feel free to ask in the comments section.
Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the world of tech.
See you later.